So while I was in Hawaii, I met this red guy named Jack. He taught me how to make a mural, and did one at Lexus, and then another one at a secret wall, did some graffiti. This video is sponsored by Squarespace.
What's up? Come on in.
So meet Jack. He is a professional muralist who lives out in Hawaii. He's from Hawaii, and he was kind enough to let me come see his studio and teach me how to do some murals. And yeah, so here's how to do it.
Yeah, no, we're good. I've dumbed it down to like two things where it's like find a wall and paint on the wall. But I feel like there's so much more that can like get into it.
Yep, for sure. So first, I've been fortunate to have either friends or family members, and actually my mom let me have a wall in the garage to be able to paint. But it's not hard to find if you can show your work and just be like, hey, I would say make a little mock-up on somebody's blank wall and be like, hey, this is what your wall could look like.
You could just do it on paper, right? If you had the right dimensions.
Yeah, you could do it on paper. We use Photoshop or our iPads on Procreate. Basically draw a little design, take a photo of the wall, and then manipulate the design, resize it to fit on the wall. That gives the person who owns the wall a vision, rather than, oh, this artist wants to come and paint my wall. That sounds a little risky, you know?
So you have your wall, you have your design. What would be the next step? Getting paint?
Yep, our material list, supply list, it could be simple as just house paint, bucket paint, and brushes, you know, and then you can freehand it on the wall, which we'll talk about, or spray paint. That's another good tool to use for large-scale murals.
Okay. Next point, you already talked about it. Getting your image from the mock-up onto the wall as a sketch. You either freehand it, do a grid, or a projector.
There's different types of grids. We do one called a doodle grid, which is just like markings on the wall, and then you overlay a photo onto it and say, oh, that marking lines up with this eyeball. Sketched it on the wall, got our materials.
So next is actually putting paint to the wall. I mean, I feel like that's simple, right?
Yeah, simple. It's like a coloring book. You just fill in shapes and at a large scale, and then you add your effects and details depending on your style as an artist.
You're done, paint's up. Is there any like finalization thing?
Sit back and enjoy the hard work we got done and see the image as for what it is, and take a photo.
Right.
High five the client and
Get paid.
laugh to the bank. No, but yeah, it is fairly simple, and a lot of people do have access to these materials, and you just gotta try it. I started painting large-scale artwork from graffiti. I grew up painting graffiti, and that was my medium for a lot of years.
If someone wanted to, like, after seeing this video, like, I want to start, what would be the first thing you told them to go do?
Don't go do graffiti. No, but you don't need that risk. You know, there's a lot of great business owners. If it's a mom and pop restaurant, and be like, hey, if I take care of the materials, or if you have a budget for the materials, I'd love to put this artwork on your wall, and naturally that'll gain attraction from the artwork, which will complement the business that it's on. And so that's a good little pitch if you go to a business or community events. There's always mural painting festivals around in cities these days, and things like that, or on your mom's garage like I did. You know, that's a good way to get a start without it being illegal.
Right, we love it. But give me the other question of pricing out your work, because like you said, maybe you cover, to start, you like cover the material costs, but like if you're starting, what would your pricing point be versus like later down the line? I don't know. Yeah,
pricing is when it comes to art, is something personal. I always make it a point that we gotta pay our dues. Success doesn't happen overnight, and I've painted a lot of free murals with my own money, just to show them what I got, you know, to build my portfolio.
Exactly, yeah.
But for a mural, you think about it as like a house painter gets X amount of dollars just to paint your house, right? You're adding talent and practice and years of experience to create this art form on their wall, so you should value it more than that.
Right. Would it be unrealistic to not start for free? If you're like, hey.
No, not at all. Like, by all means, if you can get that bag, get that bag, you know? Yeah.
At the time, they can't visualize it unless you.
They're not artists. They're businessmen. If they're working in taqueria, they're like, what? Art? I don't know how that's going to turn out. Why would I want to?
Yeah.
Here, this is what it'll turn out. This is how much it costs.
Love it.
Make it easy for the client to say yes.
So how did you get the Lexus job?
I participated in a mural festival called Powwow. So being a part of that festival, I was connected with the curators and the project managers of it, and throughout the year, people contact them. Being a part of that community, they reached out and like, hey, Lexus is looking for a mural. I showed them your work and they really liked it.
To get into those festivals, did it cost money?
No. A lot of times for those festivals, it's all sponsored, and usually it's a nonprofit organization.
That's right.
So they get a lot of sponsorships and donations
Cool.
to beautify the city, basically. And it's a beautification project and involvement of local artists and talents.
What do you feel like you've invested other than your time? Because that's a big one. Time. I don't know. Have you made any like big investments to try to get gigs? So like kind of marketing, I guess.
And that's where some of the free murals come in. You know, I have time, and then the material costs are pretty low, to be honest. So if I can invest a low cost to paint a mural in a few days, it's basically a billboard of marketing.
Right.
People will drive past it every day, and they'll be like, oh, there's that mural. I need a mural.
Interesting. Yeah.
Who's that artist? They come contact me. So it's not a bad gig, and just being there, being out and about, talking about it, and just hustling, you know, things come naturally.
Makes me think of one of the final steps in making a mural might be to tag it so people know it's you.
Yeah, I mean, always sign your work, you know, flex it, put your name on there, and that's a part of graffiti too that we grew up like getting up, is just getting as much work out as people can see, and then we put our tag in and sign out, and so people can connect you with that mural, you know, and people like that connection between a person and the work, you know.
No, so then I think from like these questions we'll go into about how Jack took me out to go do graffiti. Howdy.
So actually, before I get into the graffiti, I wanted to show some more stuff about the Lexus spot. First, I noticed that Jack put down like this little protective thing, and then also I thought about how he had all this material. I think you can actually rent those stands, but I think more than anything, it's just important to start with what you have. And also super impressed with him just freehanding this piece. But the boy's a professional. So, but that's another thing that I think about is, you know, no one needs to know, or no one really knows how small you are or how inexperienced you are. If you come in and you act like you're professional, you're a professional. And so just like, they don't know what a muralist looks like. They don't know what a muralist's equipment looks like. He also had his buddy Luke help him out, which was awesome. I feel like that's something that I think is cool, is when you're at a point where you know, you need help. So super stoked to see him have his boy Luke helping him. And yeah, there we go. There's the finished product. I actually wasn't there to film this. He filmed this for me, sweetheart, and it looked good. The whole entire wall there. And then I think this took him like 3 days. He had to come in after work, or after it closed up, to finish it up. And there you go. Cute little mahalo. And before I get to the graffiti part, Pass me something to say. So huge thanks to this sweetie. It's all thanks to her for a lot of my growth with my business. This is all due because of her. She has done a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that makes it so I can just relax here on this beach. She's also just so pretty, no matter what no matter what she's wearing, no matter what template. Always just so cute. She's there for me 24/7. If I have any questions, I can just roll over in the middle of the night, look at her, and get all the answers I need. And you know, she's so inexpensive, and that's why I recommend her to all my friends. Because of how great she is, my friends love her. Oh, this sweet Squarespace. Really, I've been with them for 10 years. So here's to the last 10 years, and hopefully 10 years more to come. They've made it so easy to grow my business and create a business online. And thanks to their templates and how flexible the templates are,
I mean, I could start a business for anything I have an idea for, and because the templates are so cute, no matter what, it looks good, looks professional, and I can customize it so that it's on brand for me all the time. And then they have award-winning 24/7 customer service. So any questions you have, you got answers. So turn your ideas into reality. You can start a free trial today by going to the link in the description of the video. And don't forget coupon code Shmoxd to get 10% off your first purchase.
So Jack was super rad. He let me come hang out with him multiple mornings. And one morning we came and drove to the spot and took out the wagon and wheeled up to this wall. And I was zero help at toting the wagon around. I just filmed the entire time. Showed up to the wall and his buddies were there, and it was super long and had a lot of talented pieces up there. And first thing we did was buff the wall, which is terminology and vernacular that I wasn't aware of. There's a lot of cool words, vernacular, whatever that comes with everything. And learned a couple ones with graffiti. So yeah, buffed it. Just painted over it. And I guess the people who did the last piece didn't shake up their cans, and so some pieces were showing through. So I had to do multiple coats of the house paint, the roller, and got that all done. And I came into this kind of just thinking I was going to film Jack work on a piece, but he brought some paint for me to go ahead and try one out. I didn't really have any idea of what I was going to be doing, so I was just going to kind of freehand it. And the first thing I had to do was buff my wall. So I went and painted over it. And then Jack added some black border to kind of tie in my piece with their three, which was nice of him. So take my wall, and this is kind of the game plan. His first thing is do like kind of a ghost image of what I think I want to do. Use like a white transparent paint for that. Got the image down, and then after that I'm going to fill in with color. And I want to do gradient. So Jack taught me I should do a line where I want the gradient to start, and then just kind of fill that in, add the second color, do a line again, and kind of the outline of it all, and do that with all three colors. Jack taught me some tricks with how to get like a nice fade into the gradient. Then once that's done, do the line work. I've only ever really used a spray paint like how it's supposed to be used. Oh, Control Z that. Ooh, not gonna have that. So a little worried with my first time doing this ever, but it should be fun. So add a little background or like a drop shadow, some highlights. Then from there, you can put in some like blue along the drop shadow to add more depth to it, and then reline it, maybe some spots. Then once that's done, add a little force fill in that pink. And a lot of what I realized was just kind of cleaning up your work. So here goes it in real life. You can see Jack was there. He did some of it for me, showed me like kind of the basic, then I would try to mimic it. Super helpful. And then I would take some times, like take a break, and I would try to go film Jack, see what he was up to. His pieces turned out super sick. Such clean lines. Come back and try to do some filler. This shot was fun. I wanted to do this for like, I think it'd be fun to do a whole video where it's like perspective of a can. I'm sure that's been done. Strap a GoPro to it. I'll do it, whatever. But yeah, so I did the line work, and then the drop shadow, and highlights. And then I think I actually took this time lapse and switched over to Jack. And I really liked how he did his outlines, different for each of the colors. But it turned out super sick. And also I tried to do a little skull guy because I had some extra time. But yeah, no. Here's the final piece. Loki kind of surprised how it turned out. And stoked on it. Jax is ridiculous. He freehanded that as well. So big thanks to Jack and his friends for letting me be a part of this, and for showing me around Hawaii. Alright, so be sure to like and subscribe. Go ahead and hit that bell notification. And yeah.